Camilla and the birthday cake. It was Camilla's birthday, and the air was filled with the sweet smell of sugar and joy. In the center of the table sat the most magnificent cake she had ever seen. It had fluffy pink frosting, swirls of white cream, and a rainbow of sprinkles that sparkled like tiny jewels. "It's all mine," she thought happily. Soon, the doorbell rang, and Camilla's friends tumbled in, their happy chatter filling the house. They played games and laughed until their tummies hurt. But everyone's eyes kept wandering to the magnificent cake, waiting for the best part of the day. "Time for cake," Mom announced, carrying the cake to the table. The candles flickered like little stars, dancing just for Camilla. All her friends gathered around, their faces glowing in the warm light. "Happy birthday to you," everyone sang. Camilla closed her eyes tight and made a secret wish. "I wish this whole yummy cake was just for me," she whispered to herself. Then, with a giant puff, she blew out every single candle. Whoosh! As Mom picked up the knife to cut the first slice, Camilla cried out, "Wait! It's my birthday and my cake. I don't want to share it." A hush fell over the room. Her friends looked at her with wide, surprised eyes. Their happy smiles had vanished. Suddenly, the party didn't feel like a party anymore. The balloons didn't seem as bright, and the room was quiet. Camilla looked at the magnificent cake. It was still big and beautiful, but seeing her friends' sad faces made her own heart feel a little heavy. Mom knelt beside her and gave her a gentle hug. "I know it's a special cake, sweetie," she said softly, "but the sweetest ingredient in any treat is sharing it with the people you love. That's what makes it truly wonderful." Camilla looked at her mom and then at her friends. She imagined eating the whole big cake all by herself. It would be yummy, but it would also be lonely. The best part of her birthday wasn't just the cake. It was laughing and celebrating with her friends. A big smile spread across Camilla's face. "Okay," she announced, "let's share the cake." Instantly, her friends' faces lit up, and the room was filled with happy cheers. The party was back. Mom cut slices for everyone, and soon they were all munching on the delicious pink cake. Laughter filled the air once more. Camilla took a bite. It was sweet and fluffy, but the best part was seeing her friends' happy, frosting-covered smiles. She knew then that sharing was the most important ingredient of all. Paula and the Friendly Tree. Paula loved playing in the park, but lately she'd noticed something sad. Colorful candy wrappers and crinkly plastic bottles were scattered on the grass like forgotten toys. It made her heart feel heavy. One sunny afternoon, she leaned against the park's oldest and biggest oak tree, sighing. "I wish I could help make it beautiful again." A low, rustling voice whispered from the leaves above, "You can, little one." Paula jumped back. The voice was coming from the tree. "Don't be afraid," the tree rumbled gently. "My name is Oakley. I can show you how to help." A long, leafy branch lowered, and a single, glowing leaf floated down into Paula's hand. As her fingers touched the glowing leaf, the world around her shimmered. She could suddenly see through the ground, watching the tree's roots drinking water like thousands of tiny straws. "The rain gives us a drink," Oakley's voice explained, "and our roots hold the soil together, keeping it safe and strong." The scene changed, and now she saw busy bees buzzing from one bright flower to another. "The bees are our helpers," Oakley whispered. "They help the flowers create seeds for new life, and the flowers share their sweet nectar in return." Then, Paula's view swooped up into Oakley's branches. She saw a little robin carefully weaving twigs into a cozy nest. "We give birds a safe home to raise their families," Oakley said warmly. "In return, they eat the insects that try to nibble on our leaves." Suddenly, the beautiful vision was spoiled. A plastic bag drifted by and tangled in the robin's nest. A plastic bottle rolled into a clear stream, making the water look cloudy and sad. "This is what hurts us," Oakley whispered. "It breaks the circle of helping." The glow from the leaf faded, and Paula was standing under the tree again. She looked at the litter on the grass not as forgotten toys, but as things that were hurting her friends. She knew what she had to do. "I'll help, Oakley," she promised. Paula found an empty bag and began her mission. She picked up the crinkly wrappers and the empty bottles. She even asked her friend, Sam, to help her make a colorful sign that read, "Let's keep our park pretty." As the sun began to set, Paula leaned against Oakley's trunk. The park was clean and green again. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and she was sure she heard the tree whisper, "Thank you." Paula smiled, knowing that even one person could be a great helper. Valeria's greatest treasure. Valeria had a special treasure. It was a tiny, painted wooden bird that played a sweet melody when you wound it up. She kept it safe in a small, velvet-lined box. It was a gift from her grandma, and Valeria loved it more than anything in the world. One sunny day at the park, Valeria was sitting by the sandbox, holding her treasure box tightly. A new girl with a cheerful smile and a bright red bow in her hair came over. "Hi, I'm Sophia," she said. "That's a pretty box. What's inside?" Valeria hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened the lid to show Sophia the little bird. "Wow," Sophia whispered, her eyes wide. "It's beautiful. Do you want to build a giant castle with me? We can make it a castle for the bird." Valeria's face lit up. A castle for her bird. She carefully placed the closed box on the bench and joined Sophia in the sand. They dug and piled and patted, laughing as they built the tallest towers and the widest moat the park had ever seen. When it was time to go home, Valeria ran to the bench. Her heart dropped. The velvet box was gone. She looked all around the bench, her happy feeling replaced with a cold panic. "My treasure," she cried. "It's gone." Tears welled up in Valeria's eyes. Sophia rushed to her side. "What's wrong?" she asked with a worried look. "My bird is lost," Valeria sobbed. Sophia put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry," she said kindly. "I'll help you find it." So they began to search. Sophia looked under the swirly slide, and Valeria checked behind the big oak tree. They searched through the bushes and all around the swings, calling out for the little box. Just as Valeria was about to give up, she heard Sophia shout, "I see it!" Tucked in the tall grass right behind the leg of the bench, almost invisible, was the little velvet box. It was safe. Valeria ran and scooped up the box, hugging it to her chest. "You found it," she said, turning to Sophia with a teary, grateful smile. "Thank you." Sophia beamed. "That's what friends are for," she said. That night, tucked in her bed, Valeria looked at the little wooden bird on her nightstand. The bird was a wonderful treasure, she thought, but she smiled as she drifted off to sleep, knowing that a kind, helpful friend was the greatest treasure of all. Lucas and the Talking Apple. Lucas was a boy who loved treats. For breakfast, he wanted chocolate cereal. For lunch, he wanted pizza. And for dinner, "I only want cookies," he would say. His mom would sigh. "But Lucas, your body needs good food to grow strong. How about a nice, crunchy apple?" One night, after eating only a cookie for dinner, Lucas went to bed feeling grumpy. He tossed and turned and dreamed a funny dream. In his dream, he was standing in his kitchen when a shiny red apple rolled right out of the fruit bowl and stopped at his feet. Suddenly, a small, cheerful voice squeaked, "Hello there." Lucas looked down. A tiny face with 2 green leaves for eyebrows was smiling at him from the apple. "My name is Crispin," said the apple. "I've come to show you a secret." Before Lucas could say a word, the kitchen began to spin. When it stopped, they were in a wonderful, colorful land. There were tall, green trees that looked exactly like broccoli, and a bright orange river flowed with carrot juice. "Wow," whispered Lucas. Crispin bounced happily. "This is Fuel Up Land. It's where all the energy for playing comes from." He pointed to a group of strong-looking strawberries who were building a tower out of celery sticks. Then, Crispin led Lucas over a hill. The other side was very different. The sky was gray, and the ground was sticky. The buildings were made of crumbly cookies and melty chocolate bars. The candy characters who lived there were all lying around, looking sleepy and slow. "This is Snack and Snoozeville," Crispin said softly. Treats are yummy, but they don't give you the right kind of energy. Too many make you feel tired and slow, just like them. Lucas looked at the sleepy candy people and felt a little sad for them. I want to have energy to play, Lucas said. I want to be strong like the strawberries. Crispin smiled his leafy smile. Then you know what to do, he said. The world began to spin again, and Lucas felt himself waking up. Lucas opened his eyes. He was in his own bed, and the sun was streaming through his window. He felt very, very hungry. He jumped out of bed and ran to the kitchen. He didn't ask for cookies or chocolate cereal. He went right to the fruit bowl. He picked up a shiny red apple and took a big, loud crunch. It was so sweet and juicy. It was the best thing he had ever tasted. He smiled, and his tummy felt happy. From that day on, Lucas still liked cookies sometimes, but he knew that the greatest treasures were the healthy foods that made him strong enough to play all day long. Sophia and the drawing that came to life. Sophia loved to draw more than anything. Her crayons were her magic wands. In her cozy room, filled with stacks of paper and colorful pencils, she would create whole new worlds. Her favorite thing to draw was a magnificent lion with powerful wings and a mane that shimmered with all the colors of the stars. She called him Sparkle. That night, Sophia carefully placed the drawing of Sparkle on her bedside table. The moon shone through her window, making the glitter on his mane twinkle. I wish you were real, she whispered, her eyes growing heavy. As she drifted off to sleep, a gentle breeze rustled the paper. A soft, magical shimmer began to glow from the drawing. A tiny, sparkly paw stepped right off the paper and onto the wooden table. Then another. Soon, the entire winged lion, no bigger than a kitten, stood on her nightstand, shaking his glittery mane. Did someone call for an adventure? He whispered in a voice that sounded like tiny, jingling bells. Sophia's eyes fluttered open. She gasped, sitting up in bed. It was Sparkle. He was real. He winked a sparkly eye at her, and then began to grow. He grew bigger than her pillow, bigger than her chair, until he was the perfect size for an adventure. Ready? He asked. Sophia didn't need to be asked twice. She slid out of bed and climbed onto Sparkle's warm, sturdy back. He crouched down, and then, with a powerful leap, they soared right out of the open window and into the cool night air. The houses and streets of her town looked like a tiny, twinkling map below them. They flew higher and higher, past clouds that looked like fluffy white sheep. Tiny, giggling star sprites zipped past them, leaving trails of stardust in their wake. Where are we going? Sophia shouted happily over the rushing wind. To a place where dreams are born, Sparkle called back. The comet's tail. Ahead of them, a magnificent comet blazed across the sky. Its long tail, a shimmering river of light and color. As they got closer, Sophia could see that the tail was made of floating, glowing crystals, each one pulsing with a soft light. They landed gently on a large, purple crystal that hummed with a happy energy. Every dream that has ever been dreamed is stored here, Sparkle explained. But as he spoke, a gloomy, gray cloud began to drift towards them. From the cloud, a spindly creature made of shadows, a nightmare, reached out a clawed hand to snatch a bright, golden dream crystal. We have to protect the dreams, Sophia declared. She reached into her pajama pocket and pulled out a bright yellow crayon. She drew a brilliant, shining sun in the air, and the light from her drawing shot out like a beam, pushing the nightmare back. Sparkle added a brave roar that shook the stardust from the comet's tail, and the shadow creature dissolved completely. With the dreams safe, Sparkle flew Sophia home, the first light of dawn painting the sky in pink and orange. He shrank back down and leaped onto his paper, just as Sophia snuggled back into bed. When she woke up, she wondered if it had all been a wonderful dream. But then she saw it, resting on her pillow, a tiny, warm piece of stardust that shimmered with all the colors of the stars. Anna and the Secret Book. In a little house full of big books lived a little girl named Anna. She loved the stories the books held. but she could only see them in the pictures. The words were still a secret code she couldn't understand. "I wish I knew your secrets," she would whisper to the books on the shelves. One rainy afternoon, Anna found a dusty wooden chest in the attic. Tucked inside, she discovered a beautiful old book bound in dark leather. It had no pictures or words on the cover, just a small, shiny keyhole right in the middle. Anna carried the book to her room. She tried to open it, but it was locked tight. She searched for a key in her drawers and under her bed, but found nothing. With a sigh, she placed the secret book on her nightstand. "How will I ever read your story?" she wondered. That night, Anna's mom came to read her a bedtime story. Anna watched, fascinated, as her mom's finger moved across the page, pointing to each word. As her mom read, Anna saw a tiny golden glow appear on each letter her finger touched. After her mom kissed her goodnight, Anna glanced at the secret book. She gasped. The little keyhole on the cover was shining with the very same golden light. She suddenly understood. The key wasn't something you could hold in your hand. The next morning, Anna ran to her dad. "Can you teach me the letters?" she asked. All day, they practiced the alphabet together. "A is for apple," her dad said. "B is for boat." Each new letter Anna learned felt like finding a piece of a treasure map. Day after day, Anna practiced her letters. Soon, she could put them together to make words. D-O-G, she read aloud, and a picture of a happy, wagging puppy popped into her head. It was like magic. She felt like she was learning a wonderful new spell. That evening, Anna felt she was ready. She picked up the secret book from her nightstand. Holding it carefully, she looked closely at the cover. For the first time, she saw faint, golden letters etched above the keyhole. Slowly, she sounded them out. R-E-A-D. As Anna whispered the word red, there was a soft click. The lock opened. The book fell open in her lap, and a warm, gentle light poured from its pages. The pages weren't filled with normal words, but with pictures that shimmered and danced, telling tales of enchanted forests and sparkling seas. Anna had found the key. It wasn't made of silver or gold. It was made of knowledge. From that day on, every book she picked up was a new door to open, a new world to explore. She had unlocked the greatest secret of all, the magic of reading. Diego and the Impossible Goal. Diego lived for soccer. More than anything, he dreamed of scoring the winning goal in the big championship game. He spent hours in his backyard, practicing his kicks against the old brick wall, imagining the roar of a giant crowd with every thump of the ball. But in real games, the goal always seemed impossibly far away. The championship game was only a week away. Diego's team, the Lions, was good, but their opponents, the Eagles, were known for being bigger and faster. Their goalie is like a giant. Diego told his dad one evening, "I'll never score a goal past him." His dad smiled. "A single kick doesn't score a goal, Diego," he said wisely. "A goal is scored by every single step you take in practice. And remember, you're not on the field alone. A team works together, helping each other move forward." Diego thought about his dad's words. The next day at practice, he didn't just focus on shooting. He practiced passing with his teammate, Sophia. He saw how she could run like the wind. He worked on defense with his friend, Leo, and saw how brave he was at blocking the ball. He started to see his team in a new way. Sophia was fast, Leo was a rock in defense, and everyone had a special skill. During their drills, they started calling out to each other, passing more, and working as one unit. The team felt stronger. Finally, the day of the championship arrived. The sun was bright, and the stands were full of cheering fans. The Eagles looked big and confident, just as Diego had imagined. But the Lions felt ready. They huddled together, a circle of friends. "We do this together," said Diego, and everyone cheered. The game was tough. The Eagles were fast and scored the first goal. Their giant goalie seemed to stop every shot the Lions took. For a moment, Diego felt his hope begin to fade. But then he saw Leo make an amazing save at their goal, and he remembered. They were in this together. With only a few minutes left, the score was tied. Sophia got the ball and used her incredible speed. to race down the field. 2 Eagles defenders were closing in on her. She looked up and saw Diego running toward the goal, open and ready. Instead of trying to score herself, Sofia made a perfect, powerful pass right to Diego's feet. He didn't have time to think. He just remembered all the practice, all the teamwork. He swung his leg and kicked the ball with all his might. It soared through the air, a perfect arc, right past the goalie's hands and into the net. The crowd roared. The Lions had won the championship. Diego's teammates rushed over, cheering his name and lifting him onto their shoulders. He had scored the impossible goal, but he knew he hadn't done it alone. It was a goal made of hard work, trust, and teamwork, and that victory felt better than any dream. Clara and the Rainbow Rain. The rain came down in a soft gray sigh, tapping a sleepy rhythm on the glass. From her window, Clara watched the world turn blurry and dim. The puddles were little gray mirrors, and the sky was a blanket of grayest wool. "The day is crying," she whispered to her teddy bear. But then, a thought sparked inside her, a tiny, bright idea. What if the rain wasn't sad? What if it was just waiting for a color? Clara closed her eyes tight and pictured the brightest red she knew, the red of a summer strawberry. Just one drop, she wished. Plink! In her mind, her little red thought leaped from her head and touched a real raindrop on the window. The drop on the glass blushed a brilliant ruby red. It slid down the pane, leaving a cheerful red streak, a tiny river of joy. She giggled. It worked. Now for orange, she thought, imagining a warm, crackling campfire. Splat! An orange drop joined the red one, painting a sunset stripe on her window. And yellow, she chirped, thinking of dandelions in the sun. Soon, she was calling all her favorite colors. Green for the forest moss, blue for the deepest sea, and a gentle purple for the flowers in her mom's garden. Each happy thought painted a new line on the glass. Her window was no longer a sad gray mirror. It was a waterfall of light, a stained glass masterpiece. The pitter-patter of the rain outside seemed to change its tune, from a sleepy sigh to a happy tapping dance. Clara's imagination grew bigger than her room. She imagined the colors leaping from the glass and diving into the rain itself. She pictured the red drops splashing into the street, turning the gray puddles into pools of cherry light. The yellow drops bounced on the leaves of the trees, making them sparkle. The blue drops hummed a quiet tune as they landed on the rooftops. The whole world was being washed in a gentle, shimmering rainbow shower. The moon peeked from behind a cloud, its silver light mixing with the colors. The rainbow rain shimmered and danced, a secret just for Clara and the night. She yawned a big, cozy yawn. The rain's song was now a lullaby. Tucked snugly in her bed, Clara closed her eyes. The soft, colorful glow from the window filled her room. She drifted off to sleep, dreaming of dancing in warm, sparkling puddles of liquid light, lulled by the sweet song of the rainbow rain. Thomas and the Lost Puppy. The sun was painting the sky in sleepy shades of orange and pink. In his front yard, Thomas was racing his favorite blue car when he heard a tiny sound. It was a soft whimper, like a sad little secret hiding in the evening air. He stopped his car and listened. Thomas followed the sound to the big green bushes by his fence. He peeked through the leaves, and his eyes grew wide. Curled up on the grass was a tiny puppy. It was all alone and shivering, looking up at him with big, scared eyes. "Hey there," Thomas whispered, his voice as soft as a blanket. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." He knew the puppy was frightened. Very slowly, so he wouldn't scare it, he reached out his hand. The puppy sniffed his fingers and then gave them a tiny, gentle lick. It was a puppy kiss. Thomas smiled and carefully scooped the little dog into his arms. He held it close to his chest, and the puppy snuggled in, its shivering finally stopping. "Mom, look," Thomas said as he walked inside. His mom was surprised to see the furry bundle. "Oh, you poor thing," she said, stroking the puppy's head. "He must be lost." We need to help him find his way home." They made a cozy bed for the puppy with a soft blanket and gave him a bowl of water. The puppy lapped up the water thirstily, then curled into a little ball on the blanket and fell fast asleep, safe and warm at last. The next morning, Thomas and his mom got to work. Thomas drew a picture of the puppy, making sure to get his floppy ears just right. His mom wrote, "Lost Puppy" in big, clear letters above the drawing. They went for a walk and put the posters on trees and lampposts all around the neighborhood. With each poster he put up, Thomas gave the little puppy, who trotted along beside him, a hopeful pat. "Someone is missing you," he whispered. That afternoon, the phone rang. It was a family from a few streets away. Their little girl was so happy to hear her puppy Patches was safe. When they arrived, the little girl ran to Patches and gave him the biggest hug. Saying goodbye was a little hard, but seeing Patches so happy to be home made Thomas's heart feel full. That night, as he snuggled into his own bed, Thomas felt a warm glow inside him. He had learned that helping a creature in need was the kindest and best feeling of all. Martin and the Magic Shoes. Martin was a boy with a heart full of dreams. He dreamed of climbing the tallest mountains and running faster than the wind, but his dreams felt as far away as the stars, and his feet felt heavy and slow. One evening, while helping his grandpa clean the attic, Martin found a dusty old box. Inside, nestled in soft cloth, was a pair of shoes. They weren't new or fancy, but they seemed to hum with a secret energy, and the laces glowed with a faint silvery light. "Try them on," his grandpa whispered with a wink. Martin slipped his feet into the shoes. They fit perfectly. A warm tingle spread from his toes all the way to his heart. Suddenly, the floor didn't feel so solid. It felt like a starting line. The next day at the park, Martin wore the shoes. He thought about the school's big field day race, a race he was always too nervous to join. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and imagined himself crossing the finish line first. When he opened his eyes and started to run, it felt like flying. His feet barely seemed to touch the ground. He zipped past the swings and zoomed around the big oak tree, faster than he had ever run before. The wind whistled in his ears, singing a song of courage. The shoes weren't just for running fast. When Martin wore them to work on his model rocket, his fingers felt nimble and his mind felt clear. He solved tricky problems and built the sleekest, tallest rocket he had ever imagined. The shoes helped him run toward his goals, one step at a time. Finally, the day of the big race arrived. His tummy fluttered with nerves. He looked at the long track and all the other runners. Then he looked down at his magic shoes, gave the glowing laces a little tug, and felt a quiet confidence fill him up. Ready, set, go. The race began. Martin surged ahead, his magic shoes carrying him forward. He was in the lead. But just as he neared the final turn, one of his glowing laces came undone. The shoe slipped, and Martin stumbled. The magic feeling was gone. For a second, he wanted to stop, but then he remembered how brave he felt running in the park. He realized the shoes hadn't given him the dreams. They had just helped him believe in himself. With a burst of determination, he quickly tied his shoe and sprinted with all his might. He didn't win first place, but as he crossed the finish line, his heart was bursting with pride. That night, tucked in his bed, Martin smiled. The shoes were just shoes. The real magic was the courage he had found inside himself, and he knew it would help him run toward any dream he could imagine.